Hey everyone, Dr. James Stirrett here. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to be talking about the 3 foods that will stop weight loss when you're on Ozempic or Semaglutide weight loss injections. And I want to give you some ideas of what you should be eating instead to lose weight. So, my name is Dr. James Stirrett, and I am a functional medicine doctor, a naturopathic physician, and I really love to work with men and women that are in middle age, struggling to lose weight, struggling with hormonal imbalance, just not feeling like they did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, feeling tired. I just want to improve quality of life and body image, and that is what I am here for today. So we're here today to talk about how these 3 different food groups can actually be stopping or halting your weight loss progress while you're on semaglutide or Ozempic. And before we jump into those things, I just want to say that this goes beyond Ozempic. It goes beyond weight loss medications. And really, I see all of my weight loss patients across the board struggling with these food groups when it comes to inflammation and struggling to lose weight in general. So what's actually happening with Ozempic? It's really important to understand. So when we inject Ozempic, what it's doing is it's making our receptors more sensitive to insulin, helping to reverse insulin resistance while we're on Ozempic. And that in itself will help lead to weight loss. It also has a little bit of a side effect of making you less hungry, reduce cravings, reduce sugar cravings, and things like that. But you can really turn down how effective the medication is just based on what you're putting in your body. When we eat food and it goes into our digestive tract to be broken down and nutrients absorbed, that's the process of digestion. If that process isn't going well, food comes in, it's not broken down efficiently, there's an inflammatory response, things are getting absorbed that shouldn't be absorbed, it creates a lot of inflammation. So if our digestion is creating inflammation, you're going to see that response head to toe, and it's going to increase a lot of stress hormone in your body, specifically cortisol. When this happens, it will turn down GLP-1 expression, and it will actually cause you to gain weight because cortisol is going up, blood sugar is going up, along with it, and that will combat your semaglutide if you're on it. So that's the why behind when you eat food, you can either help the semaglutide, you can either help reduce insulin resistance, or you can fight against the semaglutide and bump up insulin resistance, bump up inflammation, and work against it. And sometimes it can hit this little bit of a mute point where if you've started to lose weight on semaglutide, but your diet's not matching up, sometimes it can level out and you can end up stuck with your weight loss. So I want to quickly tell you about a patient of mine that really demonstrates this perfectly and why we need to focus on diet. So her name is Kelsey. She's a 50-year-old female. She's a teacher, just really struggling with stress and weight. Weight was not coming off, but she was trying everything in the book, all of the bells and whistles. You know, she's eating a healthy diet by society standards. Trying to do a lot of keto, intermittent fasting. She's working out a ton, Orange Theory, bar, and just doing a bunch of cycling, even a little bit of weight training here and there. So a very healthy individual. We had her on some hormone replacement therapy, but she also was on semaglutide, 0.25 milligrams twice a week. And she very quickly got stuck after losing about 5 pounds. And this really frustrated her a lot because it seemingly was like, man, we have all of our ducks in a row. Things are going very well from a health perspective. How come I'm not losing weight? And then this is where women find themselves often when they're trying a lot of interventions. Many women will think, man, something must be broken in my body. And I want to encourage you that this is not typically the case. There's no such thing as broken. We can always help to bring things back into balance. However, in this case, she was just consuming a few different foods that were inflammatory for her, maybe not inflammatory for the rest of everyone in the world, but inflammatory for her, that was increasing that cortisol, increasing that inflammatory response, and combating the semaglutide and not really allowing it to work in her body. What ended up happening with this patient was when we pulled those foods out of her diet, she was allowed to then go ahead and continue her weight loss journey, losing 2 to 3 pounds a week. And she ended up hitting her weight loss goal about 3 months after this, and we weaned her off semaglutide. No big deal. But it all came back down to a few of these food groups I'm going to share with you today. A quick note for those of you out there that are not part of this channel or haven't seen me before, I am a doctor, but I am not your doctor. So please just take this. This is information that I see consistent with my patients, but this is not medical advice for you. Now, with that being said, I also want to say that what I'm about to share with you, I have no intent of any patient of mine ever avoiding a single food forever, unless they have like an allergic response to it where, similar to like getting stung by a bee, how people's throats will swell up, like a true allergy. Some people have that to gluten and bananas and some other foods like that, peanuts. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about dietary sensitivity at this point. So if you're sensitive to something, my intent for you is not to never eat it or never enjoy it again. It's simply to avoid it for a period of time, allow your body to heal, get yourself the results that you're looking for, then add it back in sparingly and allow your body to do what it does best, and that's heal. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves, and when we space out the insult, 2, 3 days, 4 days, your body's going to heal itself in the interim. So what I'm about to share with you, please do not take this as the end-all be-all, avoid it for the rest of your life. That is not what I'm trying to get at. And without any further ado, let's jump into these 3 food groups. I know it's going to help a lot. So the first food group to try avoiding is going to be dairy. For most people, dairy is just absorbed very, very poorly. It's not broken down well in the gut, and it does cause an inflammatory reaction. I know you're going to see a lot of different camps online about dairy, especially within the carnivore diet and different ancestral diets. However, what I see clinically is that dairy is a disturber of the gut. It causes leaky gut in many, many people. It drives up cholesterol, and I see that resultingly drive up blood sugar, which is going to combat semaglutide ultimately. If I had to pick one thing for you to avoid today, it would be dairy for your weight loss. All right, so I want to be clear what I'm talking about when I mean dairy. For one, eggs are not dairy, so that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about milks of all kind from all different animals, cheeses from all different animals, kefir, cottage cheese, sour cream, ice cream, butter, ghee. These are all forms of dairy, but this will be the number 1 category that I'm recommending for you today. Category number 2 is going to be nightshade vegetables. I've done another video on this before. However, you need to know nightshade vegetables are going to include tomatoes, potatoes, anything spicy peppers, all habanero, jalapeno, cayenne, paprika, anything like that. Those are all nightshade vegetables. If you smoke cigarettes or if you use tobacco products, tobacco is a nightshade and it will impact you the same exact way. So we care about nightshade vegetables because they have these inflammatory compounds called lectins that are really damaging to the gut, and they like to deposit themselves around the body and wreak havoc. And so it's best to avoid them because most of us are going to be sensitive. It will increase water weight, which then again increases cortisol and blood sugar, and that is going to again combat your semaglutide. It's best to just pull these things out temporarily. You can always test them later. If you're getting value out of this and you want more, then I have a little surprise for you. Down in the description area, there's a free download for our hormone and weight loss cheat sheet. It goes into a ton of detail with this information and more. Go ahead and grab that and we'll keep going here. All right, number 3. This is a sneaky one for people. I have my weight loss patients always test legumes. Peanuts, peas, beans, chickpeas, these are all legumes and they must be evaluated because our bodies just don't digest them very well. They are nutrient dense and they do have healthy attributes. However, when these foods go into the digestive tract, they are broken down slowly and often people will experience gas. This gas is basically the food not digesting quickly. It's sitting there too long. You're going to have some inflammatory action that takes place. This can disrupt your weight loss. And for that reason, you really need to be able to test it, avoid it, and see if this is something that's holding you back. A quick note here on legumes when it comes to protein powder. Most vegan protein powders are going to have pea protein in there, which is a legume. And if you're trying to get your protein requirements for the day in, and you're using a protein powder that has pea protein in it, then that may be disrupting your weight loss. Now, going back up to the number 1, whey is dairy, and I should have mentioned that in the first category. So if you're looking for a protein powder, you should not do whey. You should not do pea proteins. I recommend collagen-based protein powders. I recommend bone broth-based protein powders, hydrolyzed beef collagen protein powders. These are going to be where you're going to get the best bang for your buck. And let's just say that you are completely stuck. I'm going to give you guys another little bonus tip here. You're not eating dairy, you're not eating nightshades, you're not eating legumes, but you're having oatmeal every day for breakfast. This can be a big red flag. We don't all metabolize oatmeal the same way. Some of us really break it down fairly quickly, and it's less complex for some. Some it's going to be more complex. What I mean by that is Some people are going to get more of an insulin spike. Some people are going to get less of an insulin spike. So for this reason, I do have people ultimately avoid oats or decrease the frequency of them in their diet. Again, another thing for you to evaluate within your current diet plan. So you might be, this is all well and good, Dr. Stirrett, but what am I actually supposed to eat? So number one, when it comes to carbohydrates, we don't want to go to zero on semaglutide. The combination between semaglutide and zero carbs is going to make you very carbohydrate resistant going forward in the future. For this reason, we typically recommend 100 to 150 grams of carbs per day, depending on the person. And with this, we want to make sure that they're complex carbs, so like quinoa, brown rice, vegetables, and that they are also going to be paired with a protein when you do consume them. The most important aspect is going to be how much protein is in your diet. Protein is what stabilizes your blood sugar. So if you're eating like zero protein, this is probably the biggest offense that I see men and women making in the course of a day is they'll eat no protein for breakfast, minimal protein for lunch, and then have a high protein dinner. And so they've had zero stabilization throughout the day, mostly carbs for breakfast, nothing for breakfast, or carbs for breakfast with coffee, and then carbs again with a light protein. And so you're not really getting the requirements that you need. So for women, I'm recommending typically 80 grams of protein per day, men at least 100, definitely north of that if you are trying to maintain muscle. And maintaining muscle is important on semaglutide. You don't want to waste away, so you may need to make sure that you're getting your protein demands in there. I recommend all animal proteins other than dairy. As far as calories are concerned, remember that this calories in, calories out approach is completely broken and skewed. It's what nutritionists have been taught for years. They tell their patients to go into a deficit. And if that is true, then how come I have patients eating under 1,000 calories a day that won't lose weight? They won't lose a pound. It's because of content. It's because of the quality of the food that you're eating is so important. That being said, we typically will recommend anywhere from a 1,300 to 1,500 calorie a day diet, specifically for women, more for men, but somewhere in that camp when paired with semaglutide or Ozempic, and that is where we tend to see the most results. We do increase those calories when we're weaning people off semaglutide, and we're able to do that without weight gain. If you found this information useful, go ahead and smash that like button for me. It really helps out the channel. Shoot a comment in there. That helps as well. And I love to engage with people on here, so go for it. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so when the next video launches, you're notified about it. Make sure to turn on the notifications so you'll be good to go. Until next time, you guys, I'm Dr. James Stirrett. Take care.